technology at the service of humanity. And so there are real areas where AI and technology specifically can help us be more human.
Hey everyone, Flo here with Blockchain North. Today I have a very special interview. I'm interviewing Adrienne Jung, who's the winner of our recent startup pitch competition at our inaugural event, Spur the Future in Montreal. Very, very excited. We're going to talk about eeva, which is an AI company that seems to be there to help your daily life, organizing yourself, your tasks, etc. I see Adrienne is nodding, so I'm not completely off yet. Adrienne, a warm welcome to you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's a real pleasure, and it's exciting to be talking about AI and not only blockchain. And I don't know, maybe you'll throw that in as well. So we'll get started. So look, first off, just maybe a brief introduction, and the way I'd like to frame it is, when I looked at your LinkedIn profile, it seems like a very logical course. You studied strategy, you've worked in marketing, you've worked in operations. I mean, you have that kind of natural path. Was that something that you kind of envisioned? Was that by design, or did life just happen that way?
It's a bit of both, actually. I want to say mostly life happened that way with every kind of experience, whether it was an educational experience or a work experience. I kind of further fine-tuned what I enjoyed and what I was good at doing to the point. So every next step was kind of closer to what I wanted to be doing. And it just kind of ended up with eeva. So to your point, it was almost like a natural evolution of things, but in a very conscious way.
To use a tech term, you iterated your career.
I iterated my career, exactly. And I ended up in a place where I am loving what I do, and it's something that I'm good at. And so I'm just incredibly happy. And
so what prompted, prompt, you see what I just did there?
I did, yeah.
What prompted your I guess vision and your desire to create a company, which of course is really hard. Most people who
Yes.
have one, me included, know how hard that is. What was kind of your aha moment when you thought, I got to build this, and why?
So, contrary to most entrepreneurs, I actually did not grow up with aspirations to build my own company or to be an entrepreneur. It was never something I had considered, mostly because I loved my job. I loved what I did, what I was doing, and didn't really see a need to expand beyond that. But something happened in my personal life. So I bought my first home, which was an incredibly, rewarding milestone, but it came with a host of challenges. And the aha moment for me was really comparing the tools that I had available to me at work and those that I had available to me in my personal life. So career-wise, I had made a name for myself in going in largely nonprofits and tech startups and helping them structure themselves internally as efficiently as possible to be able to deliver on their mission externally. So I was used to working with really powerful tools and resources. And then at home, when I bought my first house and I asked other homeowners what they were using, they were telling me, they have a whiteboard in their kitchen where they keep their grocery lists or their to-do lists on, or the filing cabinets. Someone told me filing cabinets, which I thought was so, 1990s.
Outdated.
Yes. And so I came home one day and I asked myself the question, why is there such a discrepancy between the tools that we have available to us at work and the ones that we have available to us in our personal lives? And why such a big discrepancy? And eeva is what came from that moment, where we're really trying to bridge that gap and create something powerful for our personal lives that compares to what we're used to at work.
So it sounds like eeva is an iteration of you, basically.
Exactly right. Yes.
What does it mean, by the way?
I'm sorry?
What does it mean, by the way?
Easy and efficient virtual assistant.
Okay. Very nice.
It does mean something.
And so I have to ask this question. I mean, there are so many tools at our disposition today, for, whether it's like workflow tools like Asana or Monday.com, which perhaps aren't used by the mom to refer your website or even by any individual. But, communication tools. I mean, I could cite so many. What was missing in your point of view, or was it just bringing them together in some way?
It was a combination of bringing them together, but also adapting them to the realities of our personal lives. So we use Monday.com at work, and that is what I tried using to help me manage my own personal life. And there was just a lot lacking there. The structure is not made to be able to track things in your personal life. It's very focused on sales and work productivity. And so there were just a lot of things falling through the cracks. I wasn't happy with the structure it provided, and it didn't integrate with the right things that I used in my personal life instead of at work. And so we are taking kind of those concepts. We're heavily inspired from tools like CRMs or ERPs, but
Mhm.
creating something that's specifically adapted for the realities of your personal life. And so it's not about sales calls and meetings and taking notes. It's about doctor's appointments and grocery lists and, grandma's birthday, which is just as important, just a very different facet of your life.
And so, like tangibly speaking, what does
Yeah.
that mean in terms of the differences you had to build in your tool?
So we created the back end is somewhat similar to the back end of a corporate tool, but the front end we had to make it a lot more user friendly. We had to make that we invested a lot in the branding, making sure that it was very anti corporate, that it was a
Mm.
tool that was welcoming and that people felt comfortable kind of going to, that was family friendly. The language that we use is also a lot more authentic and real than what you might see on Salesforce. It's a lot more almost like you're talking to your neighbor, which was really the vibe that we were going for. And we structured it so when you go into the app, there's a definite structure. It integrates with things that you use already, so all of your different calendars, your emails, and then we're working on third-party integrations with some of the apps that you might already be using to help you track all of this stuff. The only
Mm.
thing we can't integrate with is the whiteboard you have in the kitchen, but take a picture of that and we can plug that stuff in.
Nice, nice. Not yet, not yet. Maybe
Not
you'll
yet.
be able to do that in the future. And another question I have to ask is, I mean, it seems like such a obvious solution that we would
Right?
need, and
Yep.
especially 4 years ago. I mean, I can imagine where we're at 4 years later. I mean, what's the competitive landscape for a tool like that, especially coming from places like the US?
Yeah, we've got a few competitors. Most of them have taken a tool like Notion and kind of reskinned it. We are the only ones that we know of that has built something from scratch, which is where a lot of the resources and the time has gone into, in building something that's really unique. Obviously, depending on what you use, you might consider some of our competitors to be, Google, the Google ecosystem or Apple ecosystem, but we've taken a very different approach where we're data focused, and so we're wanting to not to create our own ecosystem, because most of us are using something like Siri or Alexa. But if you ask around, I don't know what your experience is like, but they're terrible. They're not actually very smart. And so that's what we're trying to do, is create an assistant that's actually intelligent and that captures the data, the micro data that you're confronted with on a daily basis. And
It's so
actually,
interesting.
truth be
You
told,
mentioned steer. Sorry, go ahead.
our main competitor, based on interviews, is pen and paper. That's what most people are using, right? They're doing their to-do lists on a piece of paper. They're giving it to their spouse. The grocery lists are on, potentially a notes application. So the competitive landscape is actually pretty sparse.
Okay. Now, another perhaps not PC question, but on your website, it literally says, and you do use the term cheeky, so maybe my question is cheeky too. You say mom approved. And I'm wondering, like,
Yes.
I don't know, I have like 5 questions just on that. But I'm like, one,
Okay.
obviously, this is a tool that's available for and can be used for, anyone beyond moms,
Anyone.
because otherwise we're
Yes.
going to lose half of the people who are watching this interview, maybe more, as a tech platform.
Yeah.
But also in terms of the way you designed the app, I mean, are moms, I guess a primary target market for this? And what does that mean in terms of the way you built it and
Yeah.
also market it?
Yeah, moms and specifically women are our primary target.
Okay.
And that's just because we know from experience, but also there are numerous studies that confirm this. Women are the ones that traditionally own the mental load for what happens at home. So typically in a household, the person that remembers things or that coordinates or delegates or asks people to be doing things by a certain time will typically be the woman in the household.
I
And
concur in my household. I'm
there
married,
you
so
go.
it is my
uh,
wife.
there was actually a very recent study done that said that 76% of women that were polled said that they felt that they owned the mental load. So that's not insignificant by any means.
Hmm.
Historically, it makes sense. Women have been the ones to own the household for as far back as we can remember.
And the purse
So,
strings.
yep, that makes sense. And so that's where the problem that we're trying to solve is in majority owned by women, and so we are targeting them. But we have gotten feedback from single fathers, even men who are moving out, who feel like this is helpful. It's mom approved. We've gotten a lot of moms. We did a focus group specifically with moms, and they definitely approve of it. They've said that it eases their mental load. Instead of the reflex being go ask mom, the reflex becomes go check Eva, which significantly reduces the kind of pressure that they feel to have to remember everything, remember where everything is, or what to do, or when something is happening. So it's definitely our target market at the start.
Hmm. Hmm. Super interesting. Well, I guess I have so many questions to ask you, but I mean, one of them is about the way you built your company. I guess beyond the tech itself. Maybe you could speak a little bit to the tech stack actually as well. But I mean, how do you balance creating something that inherently has to be accessible, has to be easy to use day to day when perhaps you're juggling many other activities, and you don't want to. I know as an entrepreneur myself that whenever we've had to onboard a new tool, it takes time. Like
Takes time.
it's just, and that's probably one of the biggest challenges. So
Yes.
how do you balance that while at the same time making it kind of cutting edge and leveraging all the very latest tools that are at our disposition, and of course on a continuous basis.
Yeah. That's a big question, and there's so much that goes into it. It's not definitely not one size fits all. I
Okay.
think when you talk about, when we built the company, neither myself nor my co-founder are technical.
Okay.
We do not have a technical background, neither one of us, which in and of itself is unusual for a tech company.
Steep
Uh,
learning curve.
Yes, a very steep learning curve. But it also means that we went about things very differently, which we attribute to, some of the challenges we've had, but also the success that we've had. We built a company before we built a product. Because we found very quickly that the problem that we're trying to solve resonates, and so we had a story that we relied very heavily on, and that we based a lot of our marketing on. And that's why, you said earlier, our website looks very professional. The documents that we put out, the interviews that we do, we communicate our story, and that's the first thing that we want people to come across. Because after you've heard the story and you understand the problem, to your point, it's not just women that understand. Everybody understands this. Everybody
Mhm.
experiences this to a certain extent.
Yeah, I
And
can
so,
confirm that. As a man, I definitely felt, even though it said "mom approved," it made me smile, and I understood why. But I definitely thought, oh, I could probably use something like this myself. Yeah.
yes, almost everybody could use this to a certain extent. And so that's why we made sure to build it in a way that was adaptable and customizable to whatever your life looks like. And that was one of the challenges, was building something, to your point, that was easy enough for the average consumer to use, but flexible enough that it could be applicable to a mom that's got 6 kids, or a single dad or like a single man that has a dog. Like regardless of what your life looks like, we want to be able to help you manage your life. And so after building the company, we worked on building the product, because we got a lot of traction with what the story and the ideas that we were putting out there. We raised enough money to be able to build it, and then we've invested very heavily in the tech stack. So we built a very robust back end that's really flexible and customizable. We made the conscious decision early on to build it from scratch. That was important to us because we believed from a business perspective in the kind of the sustainability of what we were building, and we didn't want to accumulate too much technical debt that was going to, bite us in the future. And then from there, bringing on the right team members. So we have a fairly large team now, but they're incredibly talented and motivated. All of them feel the pain point that we're trying to solve. And so it just works really well. We built a product that is actually helping people, which was kind of the biggest validation we could have.
Well, that's the perfect segue for my next question, which is, could we do a verbal case study? Like, could you share, I don't know, I mean, in a few minutes, a day in the life of a user of eeva and how they might be, using it, and how that would make their day obviously easier,
Yeah.
notwithstanding what I said earlier about, adopting a new tech.
Yeah. What we're really targeting is the day to days. So all of the little data points that you're confronted with that you might not even realize. So when I wake up, I check eeva first thing in the morning, and it tells me what I have happening in the day, as well
In
as
your personal life.
in my
Or
personal
does it,
life. Absolutely, yes.
so not your work, not your business.
Not I have chosen. That's me. I've made a decision. In the ever-ending pursuit of work-life balance, I've chosen not to add my work calendar to eeva.
Okay. But that's
Um,
possible.
it is possible. Yeah, you can integrate, you can add in whatever calendar you want. And then you can you could check off and on. And that's especially helpful for families. So you could add your calendar, your spouse's calendar, your kids' calendars, whatever it is, and then decide if you want to see them or not. So I check eeva. I see what I have happening in my personal life. This afternoon, I'm getting my winter tires put on. So I have to, so I log that. And then I check, when's the last time, when did I actually buy my tires? So I'll go in and quickly, with one click, I can see what the tires are when I bought them, because that'll give me a good sense of how many more winters do these tires have left? Am I going to need to buy some anytime soon? I have a doctor appointment as well later today. And so I click on that to see, did I put in any notes? Was I supposed to do anything for this appointment? Was I supposed to bring anything to this appointment? And then I am meeting up with my friend as well. There was, incidentally, I had put in a coupon. I have a coupon for something expiring today. So I got a notification about that.
You have
And
to you have to input all these things, obviously.
you do have to input it, but we make that fairly easy. So we've got OCR. You can just take a picture of it, and it captures kind of the important information on there. And it'll ask you, like, do you want to set a reminder? Is just a note that you want to put in? Yeah. I also got a note.
OCR, I'm not familiar with the acronym.
Oh, optical character recognition.
Obviously.
Sorry. Obviously.
You are quite techie by now.
I've had to learn, like you said, steep learning curve. So you take OCR is just, you take a picture and it reads the words that are on it to be able to interpret it.
Okay.
And the big thing for me these days that I've been using eeva for is the holidays. The holidays are coming up. I really want to take advantage of Black Friday sales. And so I imported the lists of gifts that my family has kind of put together. And I'm using it to kind of keep an eye on sales coming up and what makes sense for me to get during Black Friday. So that's one of the main things I'm personally excited about.
Is there a feature that you're particularly excited about? Is there something that either is already, because you're in beta stage, I think, so you must be still,
Yes.
ideating, and you'll always be, I guess, coming up with
Yeah.
new features. Is there something you're particularly, I don't know, excited about right now?
There's a feature that we're working on that I'm really excited about that should come out in Q1 of next year, which is, we integrate with your email, and that's already, but the ability for it to kind of read your emails and take action. And that's, I would say, one of our main differentiators is most of the AIs or the assistants at the moment. They'll kind of remind you of stuff and they'll log things, but very few will actually take action on your behalf. So with eeva, what we're working on, it'll see that, okay, your grandmother's birthday is coming up next week. Do you want me to schedule an email to her saying, happy birthday? I wish you, another year of, you can choose the wording, you can choose the template. But we're really trying to automate, and automate whatever can be automated using AI to be able to free up people's times for things that are more human worthy, shall we say.
I'm going to ask you about that a little bit later as well, because I feel like that's kind of a debate in the tech world and outside.
Oh,
What is
yes.
AI doing to our life? But just switching gears a little bit, I want to talk a bit about your tech stack and your I guess your tech journey. And one question I forgot to ask is it a freemium model?
It is not. It is entirely paid. Currently, because we're in
Okay,
beta, it is free. So right now we're just focusing on gathering feedback, understanding what brings value to the users.
right.
But starting early next year, it will become a paid app.
Okay. So correct me if I'm wrong. This is an AI based solution.
Yes, it's an AI powered solution.
What's the difference?
So we are not, we have a solid base. It's a software. We're not based on AI, but we use AI to kind of make it really powerful. So you can, in theory, you can use it without AI. You don't have to use the AI features, but using the AI features will allow for more kind of analysis, prediction, and automation in a way that you wouldn't be able to do without AI.
A little bit like the weather app has introduced AI, so you don't really need the AI. They probably use it in other ways in the back end, but I mean,
Right.
from a front end user perspective, I personally do not use their AI functionality. Like, what should I
Correct.
wear today?
Me neither.
I
Yeah.
think I'm a grown up by now.
And that's a bit of a pet peeve for me because that's what we're seeing across the board. All the companies are adding AI, mostly because it's the cool thing to do and
Yeah.
they want to stay relevant. But very few have actually integrated an AI in a way that actually adds value to the user and it becomes more of a detriment more than anything else. We
Hmm.
are using an AI in a way that hopefully adds value to the users. There are real synergies between the problem we're solving and what AI does well. So all of that predicting and automating for your daily life. I don't need AI to kind of compose me a song, but it would be really great if it could schedule my doctor's appointment.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And beyond AI, so I want to ask you that big question about tech, and it applies to AI, but I think even before we were, talking about AI every day of our lives, it would apply to tech as well. I feel like there are two camps in the world. There are those who say, it's amazing, and it's going to solve so many human problems and business problems, and perhaps health outcomes, and a lot of things like this around the world. I've not heard anybody say that it's going to like solve, world hunger or well, perhaps it will help, but or things like conflicts, unfortunately. But certainly there are people that are extremely optimistic and bullish on tech,
Yeah.
but there are others who are very critical and who are saying that tech is everywhere in our life right now and capturing our data and perhaps also in some ways, yeah, part of our life where it's almost dehumanizing us a little bit.
Mhm.
I don't know which camp do you stand on. I suspect you're going to say somewhere in the middle, but yeah, how do you see that balance basically between
Yeah.
tech solving problems and also humans remaining humans?
Yeah, I think I do fall somewhere in the middle, although perhaps skewed a bit more towards, technology being good for humanity. At Eva, we have a general philosophy, and that's how we go about our day: is technology at the service of humanity. So, like I said in my previous example, we don't want personally, I don't want AI to, paint for me because I actually enjoy painting, but I do want it to schedule my doctor's appointment because I don't feel like being on hold for half an hour. And so there are real areas where AI and technology specifically can help us be more human by removing the things that don't make us feel human and kind of giving us more time and space to do things that are at the core of humanity. So like creativity and enjoying life. But I also think, like every tool, it's only as good as as the user. As humans, we have to make a conscious decision to integrate technology in a way that makes sense for each one of us. I do take days off where I turn everything off and I step away from technology for a little bit so I can get back to spending time with myself and getting away from the constant flow of notifications and information and data thrown at me. But that's a decision that I have to make as a human to turn it off. It's not something that technologies at least currently is not going to make that conscious decision for us. So I think I definitely believe in technology in the service to humanity, but I also think as humans we have a part to play in recognizing kind of the limitations and our and understanding ourselves to know what's good for us personally and what's not good for us.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean technology, we talk today about tech or technology like, like it's new, but I mean the world has always been technological. The technology has just evolved and become more
Exactly.
sophisticated and perhaps more pervasive as well. But I
Yeah,
would agree with you completely. That personal responsibility aspect is fundamentally important. At the end of the day, technology is a tool, and
exactly.
it's actually neutral. At
It's
least for the
neutral.
moment.
And I think for me, this it's really influenced a lot of, for example, it's changed a lot of how I do my hiring. Where technology is so pervasive and we want people to be proficient in technology, but AI is really changing the game when with data analysis and data prediction and things like that. We're prioritizing hiring people now that can provide skills and behaviors that AI cannot do. So we focus on critical thinking and behaviors, actual human behaviors that
Yeah.
AI currently can't do. And so part of that is being able to acknowledge, currently I need to take a social media break, or I need to step away from the computer because I'm just not, productive anymore. It becomes, I think, the pervasiveness or the growth of technology and the importance it's taken in our lives just puts more pressure and emphasis on us actually using the skills that are actually specific to humans and not technology.
Yeah, wonderfully said. I have a couple of final questions as we wrap up. First off, what's your long-term vision for eeva, and what are the next steps to get there over the coming, let's say, months and years, given things go so quickly in tech?
Yes. Long-term vision, we want every household to be using eeva. We really want to be able to help everybody kind of manage their life, no matter what stage of adulting you're at. We want to help you wrangle that chaos. And we know that the chaos is never ending, whether you're 80 years old or 21 years old, it doesn't really matter. And so we have global expansion goals to see eeva in every household. Now that's a big vision. And next steps, we are officially launching at CES next month. So we were invited
Wow.
to represent the province of Quebec at CES. So we're exhibiting, which we're really excited about. And that will be the official kind of launch to the world of eeva. And we're really excited to see what kind of reception we get.
What will be your biggest challenge, you think, in the coming years?
Um, so many challenges, more than I can kind of get into right now. For sure, how fast technology is moving is something we're keeping an eye on, like staying up to date and making sure that our users are benefiting from the same level of innovation as the corporate world is benefiting from. So kind of keeping tabs and keeping up with how fast technology is going. um, that's the main thing. Over the next few years, we're keeping an eye on. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of um, there's going to be more and more kind of legal and compliance restrictions put on AI. So we definitely want to keep an eye on that. Make sure that everything is safe, secure, ethical. So those are kind of at a high level. Those are the things we're keeping an eye on.
Congrats on the Quebec taking you to CES
Thank
thing. I
you.
think that's really big. I'm curious as well. How has it been building a tech company in Quebec or Canada? Given again, to use the analogy of a spectrum, there are people a lot of people, I would say, right now in Canada who are, very critical of our government, of our supports for entrepreneurs, our tax systems, things like
Yeah.
capital gains, etc. And it is factually true that we have seen somewhat of a brain drain when we were attracting people from all around the world before. So
Yeah.
has it been hard for you? And essentially, what would be your main message to the current or a future government about what they should be doing to support entrepreneurs so that the IP and the talent and all
Hmm.
that good stuff stays in Canada?
So in the early stages, we're lucky. We're lucky to be in Montreal. Montreal has such a vibrant startup ecosystem, and I want to say probably the most vibrant in Canada, potentially North America.
Okay.
Um, And so we've been lucky to be based out of here. And so in the early stages, being part of that ecosystem has been really beneficial. We were able to take advantage of a really great network. There were many resources. The more we grow, the more we see that we're kind of outgrowing the resources that are available in Canada. Funding has been particularly hard. Our lead investor is American. And so we've raised close to $2 million so far. And, not a significant portion of that came from Canada. There's a whole lot of reasons why that might be. Where the economy is at, the market, interest rates, whatever that might be. But we're finding that kind of as we grow, the industry and the economy is kind of pushing us outside of Canada to be able to meet our needs. And as we're looking at raising our Series A next year, we're already all of the conversations that we're having with potential VCs are in the United States,
Well, I
unfortunately.
was going to ask if you had a final message to send to anyone. Is it to investors? Is it to users? I mean, what if you have that platform right now, you have that opportunity to speak to as many as possible. What would you like to say and to who?
I mean, the main thing is, like I said, we're in open beta currently. I would love to get more users and get more feedback around, are we bringing value to you? Can eeva help you with your life, no matter what that looks like? And yes, we're always looking for investors. We're raising our Series A next year, and yeah, keep an eye out for us because I think eeva is going to be big.
Awesome. Well, I will tell my wife about this
Please do.
software or this solution just after this
Please
interview.
do.
But a big thank you to you, Adrienne. Again, congratulations on winning our startup pitch competition with two others, to be fair, who will also be interviewed soon. But out of I think 12, so that's a good ratio. And yeah, congrats. Good luck, because of course
Thank
it's
you.
not easy. Happy holidays. I think that is also very important to enjoy
Thank
that.
you.
This was Adrienne Jung, co-founder and CEO of eeva lower cap and yeah, check her out. Let me just see, the website is eeva.ai. We will link all of this, and we'll be publishing this through all of our channels. Stay tuned to Blockchain North. We're venturing into the space of AI and other technologies, so lots coming up in the coming weeks, as well as interviews with the other two winners. You can find us on all platforms. So just search Blockchain North. We also have a newsletter coming out every Wednesday, and we do a Twitter space or X space on Thursday at noon Eastern time every week. Maybe we'll have you on, Adrienne.
Maybe. I love that.
Take care and thank you very much. Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you. Thanks for having me.